In this show, I'm dining in splendour with some folk who have a famous relative.
I'm sitting here at a table with descendants from the Prophet Muhammad.
And I meet the master of baklava.
I haven't had a 74-year-old man hand feed me since my grandfather was still around.
I'm on a journey to discover the origins and secrets of Turkish cuisine. To really understand this food, I need to get to the source. So come with me as I travel from the Aegean Sea to the plains of Anatolia. From the heart of an empire in the west to the brooding Black Sea of the north. Then it's back to my kitchen to use what I've learned and give it my own spin. So I've travelled from Cappadocia to Turkey's deep south, and in 50 k's in that direction, there's the Syrian border. Ask anyone, and they'll tell you that the best cooks in Turkey come from Gaziantep, which sits on the edge of the vast Mesopotamian plain. There are borders here now, but until the early 20th century, this was all Ottoman. Towns and regions shared flavours and recipes and traded freely. I don't know if you've really had a chance to see fresh pistachios back home. You normally only see them in the packets. I don't know what colour you'd call that, bit of a purple, but they're actually a soft nut on the outside, and when you squeeze it, you peel off that skin, and then you've got the pistachio that everybody knows inside. These girls move with the speed of 10 men, so I better move my ass a bit because they're making me look bad. This area is famous for the quality of its pistachios. Mustafa Polat, a pistachio farmer, tells me that even the Turkish name for pistachios, Antep Fushta, means nuts from Gaziantep. So how many pistachios would you guys produce here in your farm?
Var yılda 150.000 ton, yok yılda 30.000 ton hasat alıyoruz.
But not all pistachios are for export. The very best are saved for local consumption. Baklava depends heavily on the quality of the pistachio, and Mustafa is letting me grab a few that I might be able to use in baklava myself. To see where more than half the harvest ends up, I'm hitching a ride into town. And to a joint famous around the world for its baklava, Imam Çağdaş. Even the Turks acknowledge that nowhere else comes close to creating a pastry of this type of artistry. Burhan Çağdaş runs both this factory and the restaurant downstairs. And in this room, the magic begins, under a dense fog of flour.
These guys are covered in flour from head to toe.
Burada baklavalar, bak burada hamurlar kesiliyor. Burada baklava yapmak için o tepsiyi alalım, olmazsa bir bakalım.
Oh wow.
Silk.
Yeah. Wow, that is so soft. That is exactly like silk. That's amazing. All hand rolled. Wow.
Ama baklavanın yani güzel olmasını sağlayan bu hamurun inceliği.
That's craftsmanship. No wonder these guys have got the reputation for the best baklava in the world.
Each piece is rolled by hand, so thin you can actually see through it.
Wow. Oh, it's translucent. Look at that.
And apparently, there are 40 layers of pastry in every baklava.
Burada da işte baklavalık fıstık diye kullandığımız bu fıstık. Gördüğünüz gibi bunun en iyileri şunlar. Bak şu boz olan, bakın.
And he's hand sorting all of that. I got some nuts from the harvest this morning, but what's different from these and these?
Bu ondan en az bir ay önce toplanmış.
Burhan explains that he only uses early harvest pistachios with this more intense green colour and less bitterness, and that mine are really only good for snacking.
Lezzete de bak. Şimdi buradan öbür işlemlere bir bakalım.
But before adding any nuts, the bottom layer of pastry is covered with melted butter, and 40 more layers of pastry, and then something I wasn't expecting.
Tamam. Şimdi buna burada kaymak, krema gördüğünüz gibi tartıyor. Tarttıktan sonra bakın boşaltıyor. Şimdi onu çok ince katman halinde, yani incecik yatıracak.
That's really interesting. I didn't know that. They put kaymak, which is sort of like a clotted cream, and it's used, with breakfast and sweets. And it's really fatty, but it's beautiful. And I had no idea that was in this baklava.
The crushed pistachio is sprinkled in a thin layer.
Look, you can see why the quality of the nuts are so important. These are so sweet. Such a really beautiful nutty flavour. You can really smell it and you can feel it in your hand. It's oily, it's perfect. There's no impurities, it's top quality. Not one step has been a shortcut. It's absolutely amazing.
Overlapping layers of pastry cover the pistachio until the final layer seals the whole dish. It's then cut by hand and coated in a butter mixture made from sheep and cow's milk before going into a wood-fired brick oven. Each tray spends 40 minutes at 350 degrees.
Bak bu eğer elinizle bastığınızda aşağı inmiyorsa çok iyi pişmiş, çok kıvamında demek yani.
So what happens now?
Okay. Hem altta böyle pişmemiş noktalar varsa onlar ateşe değmiş oluyor. Yani şu anda gelişmiş. Şimdi buradan babam kontrol edecek. Babam
So that's your father?
Evet, babam. Ben sizi tanıştırayım. Babam.
Burhan's father, Talat, keeps an eagle eye over the whole operation.
Thank you very much. It's an honour to meet you.
In the final step, boiling sugar syrup is poured over the oven-hot pastry.
That is so hot in there. You can see all that sugar really bubbling up. It is so hot. It's like lava in there. And I love that the old man's in there still doing all of his quality control.
The trays need to cool over iced water before they're ready to eat. And Grandpa is going to make sure I don't leave hungry.
Ben size bundan ikram etmek istiyorum. Yani bunun yiyiş tarzları böyle. Böyle.
Eat it that way.
Hoş değil. Bak sesi duydun mu?
Oh, bang on.
Duydun mu ses?
Hang on.
Bak. Duydun mu ses?
You're trying to kill me. I haven't had a 74-year-old man hand feed me since my grandfather was still around. And let me tell you, it really adds to the experience. These hands have been making baklava for 45 plus years, and this is an amazing experience. You know, you can really taste the quality in that baklava, the quality of the pastry, the quality of the ingredients. Those pistachios are absolutely amazing. It's not just a mash of pastry and nuts. That is a real art form, and I feel really lucky to be here with the master. Thank you very much. Çok sağ ol.
Sağ ol. Allah razı olsun.
This place isn't just famous for its baklava. Just downstairs, there's a buzzing restaurant filled with the aromas of eggplant smoking over hot coals and bread baking in a wood-fired oven. Kebab is the order of the day, so I'm rounding off my dessert with a 3-course meal. Starting off with lahmacun, which is a kind of super thin pizza with minced lamb and herb topping. Only being so far south, the sweet heat of pul biber is the dominant flavour. And I've barely touched it before the next dishes arrive.
These guys are nuts. He's standing there with more food. I haven't even started this. That lahmacun is amazing. Really thin pastry.
And this is quite different. Ali Nazik is pieces of tender lamb and grilled kofta on top of fresh yogurt and a bed of char-grilled eggplant.
That's an awesome dish.
In another dish, platichan kebab, the waiter skins and mashes roast eggplant. Together with grilled kofta, he adds pepper and tomato.
I feel like I'm one of my kids chopping up their dinner for them. I don't know if I should be flattered or insulted.
And it goes into a pocket of bread.
Thank you.
But there's no question, this is one of the best meals I've eaten in Turkey, thanks to Burhan and his family.
The food's been great. The flavours are a lot stronger than what I've seen in Turkey.
Evet, Gaziantep bir kültür kentidir. Binlerce yıldır bütün kültürlere elçilik etmiş bir kenttir. İpek yolu vasıtasıyla ve Mezopotamya'da köşe başı olması, Araplarla, Kürtlerle, Türklerle yani bütün ırklarla, Ermenisiyle, Rumuyla, tüm dünyadaki yaşayan evrensel insanlarla burada hepsi bir yemek bırakmışlar.
With all these different influences, it's no wonder that Gaziantep's cuisine is often described as a mosaic.
I'm so glad I got a chance to come here.
Heading east from Gaziantep to Mardin, I have to cross the massive Euphrates River, which defines one edge of the Mesopotamian region, known as the birthplace of civilization. It's this vast supply of water and adjacent plains that made early irrigation and agriculture possible. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Now, about 500 years ago, I'd be passing camels stacked full of silk and spices heading down the spice road. But nowadays, all I'm doing is passing semi-trailers full with building equipment.
Things have changed a bit. Mardin is about a 5-hour drive from Gaziantep and still very close to the Syrian border. This hilltop city is a metaphorical melting pot of Mesopotamian culture, living side by side are Turks, Kurds, Arabs and Assyrians.
I don't know a hell of a lot about Assyrian culture or history, but what I do know is that they're an old civilization from this area. They're Christians, they speak a language called Aramaic, and it's the language Jesus would have spoken.
To find out a little bit more, I'm visiting an Assyrian monastery nestled into the neighbouring hillside. It was founded in 493 AD, apparently with 365 rooms. One room for every day of the year, and you can feel the centuries in every stone. The locals call it Deir-i-Zafran, which in Arabic means saffron monastery. Why? It all becomes clear to me on the roof, where Serjan Paslamaz is treating me to the monastery specialties.
These are cookies, Syria cookies. It was made by saffron and ginger, and also dates.
You know, these taste exactly like a biscuit they make back in my family's country of Malta. Same flavours, exactly the same flavours, beautiful.
Yeah. This is saffron tea, and also there's saffron and ginger.
Yeah, you can taste it really subtly.
Yeah.
It goes great with the biscuit.
Yeah.
Tea's a big thing in Turkey, isn't it? Everywhere you go, you offer tea. So I've noticed when I was coming through Mardin that there seems to be a real mix of people living here, you know, Kurds and Arabs and Turks and Assyrians. It's very unique, to, you know, in this part of the world, especially for so many different, you know, religions and cultures to come together.
I'm taking some advice from Serjan, who says to see more of the outside influences on local food, I should head to the nearby village of Savor to meet up with some of his friends, an Arabic family with deep roots in the region.
Merhaba.
I meet with Aydın Öztürk at the local butcher.
Yeah. Güzel et var.
We're here for a couple of kilos of lamb, and just seeing it, I'm already excited.
You know, this is what I love about the lamb here in Turkey. Look at this fat. You know, it's so white, and it comes from what they're eating, and it gives all that great flavour to the kebabs. I know it doesn't look too flash in an unrefrigerated room with pieces of meat hanging, but the quality of the lamb is exceptional.
We're going to take it home and see what Aydın's family can do with it. The Öztürk family home is at the top of the village, and it's more like a castle than a house. And would you believe I'm seeing a family tree that goes way back? In fact, right back to the Prophet Muhammad.
Bu bizim soy ağacımız. 600 yıl önce gelen dedemiz, Big Grandfather. Bu ev yaptıran dedem ve bizim ailede buradayız. Ben de buradayım.
And that's you.
Yeah.
So your family descend from the Prophet Muhammad?
Muhammed. Yeah,
Wow.
direkt.
Seriously? Should I bow or something? Or? And this is the original text?
Original, same.
That's amazing.
Mutfağa geçelim.
In the kitchen, things are already heating up. Nezihe and her daughters-in-law, Saynaz and Aizagul, are hard at work, preparing the meat we brought and another dish, ishli kofta.
What's happening over here?
İşli köfte
Oh, that's the burgul.
ve bulgur.
It's basically a minced lamb and herb filling, stuffed into hollow burgul torpedoes. And although it's called kofta here, it resembles something we cooked in the first series.
This technique of rolling in your hands to make that sort of torpedo shape is really similar to what we saw in Lebanon making kibbe. But then we used burgul and meat to make the exterior and then filled it with a pretty similar filling. We fried them there. I know you can bake them, but how do you cook this?
5 dakika suda kaynayacak. Ondan sonra güzel olur.
I've never had them boiled. Have a look how thin that is. See how thin she's rolled that out? You know, it looks easy to get that like that, but it's not.
Şimdi kapatayım.
And that's what I found every time you're rolling some of this. That's what makes a dish so special when it's got a thin casing with a gorgeous meat filling. Mine are always a bit chunkier on the outside. I'm an amateur. He reckons after 5 years I might be a professional.
While I've been stuffing the ishli kofta, that beautiful lamb has been on the stove, browned with oil and onions, and then braised and left simmering. But what makes the illusion special comes next.
So are these the dried plums?
Bunun Nisan ayında tazesi oluyor. Şimdi taze bulamadığımız için kurutulmuşundan yapıyoruz.
Really sour.
There's things you see in the southeast, such as meat dishes with fruit, which you just don't see anywhere else in Turkey. But you do see similar flavour combinations in Iran and Syria, which shows the common culinary heritage.
10 dakika kaynayacak, sonra pekmezini koyacağız.
Pekmez is great molasses. The içli kofta is put onto the boil for 5 minutes. And finally, it's time to enjoy this incredible feast in this equally incredible room that seems to be lost in time.
It all looks really good. I can't wait to get in there.
And how different does this meal look to most of the Turkish food I've seen so far?
Sevdin, güzel. Yemek, güzel.
It's beautiful. It's really nice. It's nice how there's different flavours in everything. The lamb is like really sweet from all the plums, but then you've got these little parcels. When you actually bite through that crust, you've got all this lamb and spice inside. It's a really nice flavour. It's gorgeous.
A little hot. A little
Yeah,
hot.
but perfect.
Sevdin. Tamam, afiyet olsun.
لا كلنا نقدر نحب نوي.
Biz hepsi seviyoruz. Yiyoruz.
In this part of the world, no good meal ends without tea. Aiden breaks out what looks to be a family heirloom, crossed with a high school science experiment, to brew up some of his good stuff.
You know, it's been really great being here in the southeast of Turkey. What an amazing experience. You know, this is so different from the rest of the stuff we've seen. And I'm sitting here at a table with descendants from the Prophet Muhammad. Like, when are you ever going to be able to get a chance to do that?
From Gaziantep to Mardin, we celebrate a medley of meze with Ali Nazik, lamb kebab and içli kofta.
One of the biggest misconceptions that people have is that Turkish food and Middle Eastern food are one and the same. But in Gaziantep and Mardin, it was one of the only places that I found the two cultures and the two cuisines actually coming together and creating some really interesting dishes. Definitely home to the best kofta and the best kebab I've had. What I learned in Turkey, it's not really about the dish you're cooking, it's about the quality of the meat that you're cooking. Now, I'm gonna prepare a few different dishes from the same leg of lamb. Now these kebabs I'm cooking are gonna go with a Syrian style roast chickpea hummus, best street food. So this doesn't have to be too special. Piece of onion, piece of lamb, piece of fat. Now, I haven't done anything to that lamb. No seasonings, no garlic, just really simple. It's all about the quality of the lamb fat, the lamb, the onion to hold into place and give it some flavour.
To complement the kebab, I'm going to make a simple hummus with roasted dry chickpeas, garlic, salt, lemon juice, tahini, a splash of olive oil and some warm water.
All right, you want to puree that up until it's really a fine paste. That looks spot on. So I'm just going to mince up my lamb. Now, you can buy lamb mince from the supermarket, but what I've got here is some beautiful lean lamb, no sinews, no fat. It's going to make a beautiful mince. The other good thing about mincing the meat yourself is you get to put top quality fat in. The ratio I'm using is about 4 to 1, so it's 4 times meat, 1 part fat. All right, so the mince is all made. Just going to give it a quick mix. And take out probably 3/4 for my kofta.
And I'm just going to keep the flavours simple. Just salt, black pul biber for some heat and crushed garlic.
And I'm going to give that a really good knead. And as I'm kneading that lamb, I'm adding a little bit of heat to it and it's softening the fat and it's pushing all those herbs right into the meat. Now those blokes in Turkey have got this special crimping style of making kofta where it almost looks like it's a ribbon or a piece of rope tied around the skewer. Looks great, but I think I'll just stick with my long tube of meat. We're gonna get 2 other jobs on. First is our eggplant.
Give it a few spikes and then straight onto some hot coals until the eggplant is cooked through.
And while they're charring up, I'm just gonna cook the filling for my ich kofta. So hot pan, bit of olive oil, the lamb mince, my onions. Now already that smells different. That smells like lamb. It's beautiful. And there's really hardly any moisture in the bottom of the pan. It's all that melted fat. Gonna add some garlic, some pistachios, some salt, and a little bit of that black pul biber just to bring the heat. One of the things I learned when I was in Gaziantep was how serious they take their pistachios. And when we were in Imam Chardesh, seeing that guy with that huge pile of pistachios, hand selecting which nuts were going to make it and which weren't, it made me really start to appreciate how much work goes into farming these pistachios. And that's why I wanted to use pistachios in this recipe, just to pay homage to all those girls in the field, climbing those trees, pulling those pistachios out. It's backbreaking work and I wouldn't want to do it. That's done.
I'm just going to let this filling cool in a tray while I make the dough for the ichli kofta.
All right, now this is the bit that I'm a bit scared about. I haven't made this dish since I saw the girls making it in Mardin, and I'm not sure if my dough's going to apply together. I'm hoping it does.
My bergul has been soaking for 30 minutes in water and 7 spice. This makes it soft and pliable and able to be formed into a dough.
Now, you want to start with a ball of the dough. I'm just going to make a bit of a cup. Put my lamb filling inside. Now, I don't know what it is with these things. Maybe it's got to do with the fat in the lamb mixing with that dough. They almost taste like a Turkish lamb dim sum. I love them, they're great. So I'm just going to put those in the fridge just to firm up a bit. Now, you saw those eggplants when they went on, and you can see them now, there's steam gushing out everywhere. You can hear all the moisture coming out, and that's telling me that they're ready. Because that's what I want.
Scoop out the white flesh and add to some natural yogurt mixed with crushed garlic.
And the heat from that eggplant is warming the garlic, warming the yogurt, and bringing it all together. Just to liven it up a little bit and bring it a bit fresher, is I'm going to add some purslane. Now, this stuff's great fresh. And slowly let it wilt with the heat of the eggplant. Now that meat's just been sitting out at room temp. Giving that a quick season with some salt. And I'm going to put those kebabs straight over the coal. And already that fat is starting to melt onto those coals and throw up that beautiful aroma. And that's what cooking on coal is all about. It's almost charred, crispy, and smoked all at the same time.
To go over the top of the Ali Nazik, I make a butter sauce with this black bread, which has been coloured with black vegetable carbon powder, a little bit of capsicum paste, toasted flaked almonds, pul biber, a good squeeze of lemon juice, and some parsley to finish.
Beautiful. Kofta's done, eggplant's waiting, time to plate up. Okay, I'm just going to... All right, I hope I've done this dish some justice. That's my black bread, Ali Nazik. Now the best bit, time to eat. So I've got some flatbreads, some of that gorgeous meat, big spoon of that hummus, some yogurt, and if that isn't a dish to ride home and tell Mum about, I have to have a taste. That is one cracker of a dish. Have some of those with your mates around, a couple of beers. That's my Syrian roast chickpea hummus and lamb kebab. All right, hummus done, kofta done. The part I'm not looking forward to, because I haven't made these before and I've just got this terrible feeling that when I put them in that water, they're just gonna melt and we'll see. Boiling salted water. There's no use delaying the inevitable. Let's give it a go. While they're boiling, I'm going to make just a little butter sauce similar to the Ali Nazik. I'm really worried about those. Some more of that special stuff. And that's done. So far, so good. They haven't fallen apart. They look pretty good. So I'm just going to get these out and plate them up. Some of that garlic yogurt, got butter sauce. Just on top of that. It's nothing like the original. It's not even close to being authentic. That's my ich kofta with pistachios and lamb.